If you make money online or work from a remote US company, you have an advantage that most people will never experience their entire lives. You can live anywhere in the world, cheaper countries with better lifestyles, safer neighborhoods, amazing weather year-round, beautiful food, and your money goes 2 to 4 times further than it does in the United States. But there's one thing almost nobody warns you about, and that's traveling as an entrepreneur can be extremely lonely. You don't have coworkers to go grab lunch with, you don't have classmates to study with, you don't have built-in social circles from growing up in the same place, and when you land in a completely foreign country where you might not speak the language, where you don't know anyone, where you're working alone from your apartment, the loneliness hits you hard. I know because I felt it. The first week in a new city where you're questioning if you've made a mistake. When you're working all day, then you're sitting alone at night wondering why you're even there. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to avoid that loneliness, how to actually use travel to improve your life, lower your expenses, and build friendships that last for years. I'll share every mistake I made so that you don't have to repeat them, and I'll give you the exact systems I use to make sure I never feel lonely when I'm traveling. If you're thinking about traveling abroad, but the fear of loneliness is holding you back, then this video is for you. People love the idea of travel. They see the Instagram posts, the YouTube videos, the lifestyle content, cheaper cost of living, better weather, cleaner cities, safer environments, cultural experiences, better food. It all looks amazing, and honestly, it is amazing. Every entrepreneur, every remote worker, and everyone who's considering long-term travel has that one idea in their head, and that's what if I'm completely alone? What if I get to this amazing city and I have nobody to share it with? What if I'm just working alone all day, then just having dinner by myself at night? What if I can't make friends because I don't know the language or don't know where to go to meet people? That fear is powerful and it's completely valid. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's irrational or that you're overthinking it, but that fear stops people from traveling. It keeps them trapped in the same expensive city they've always lived in, paying $2,500 a month for rent, $600 in car plus insurance payments, $25 for lunch, $30 for dinner. They waste thousands of dollars a month on basic living expenses instead of investing it into their business or their future. I get it, because when I first started traveling, I felt the exact same way. And you know what? That fear was partially justified. My first solo trip was lonely at times. I made mistakes. I spent nights alone wondering if I should just go home, but I also figured out how to fix it, and that's what this video is about. Giving you the blueprint so you don't have to go through all that trial and error that I went through. Let me take you back to my first real solo travel experience. I was young, probably too young to be doing what I was doing. I had never been to Colombia. I only spoke basic Spanish phrases, and I was landing in Medellin completely alone. I remember after landing, getting a taxi to my accommodation and just looking out the window like, what did I just do? The first days were rough. I was working during the day, which was fine because work gave me structure and purpose. But then I'd finish around 2 or 3 p.m. and I didn't know anyone. I didn't know exactly where to go or how to meet people. I still remember calling my dad 3 or 4 days into the trip, telling him I wasn't sure about this, telling him I felt kind of stuck, but also telling him I don't know when I'm coming back to the US because I booked a one-way ticket. I almost regretted going. I almost bought a flight home for the next week, but I did one thing right and it saved the entire trip. For the first few days at least, I booked a hostel, not an Airbnb. Now, let me be clear, hostels are not comfortable. People are loud, someone's always snoring, people come in late, the beds are terrible, privacy is non-existent. I'm not recommending hostels because they're pleasant places to stay. I'm recommending them because a hostel guarantees one thing: people. This particular hostel in Medellin had a rooftop bar and organized activities every night, pub crawls, group cooking lessons, parties. The first couple nights I forced myself to go, even though I felt a bit out of place because I was younger. And then on the 3rd or 4th night, I met a guy that I clicked with instantly. We were both American, both there to explore Colombia without a set plan, both had no return date booked. We started talking about why we were there, what we wanted to experience. And basically after that, we hung out every day that I wasn't working. Because he had a Latin background and already spent time in Colombia, he showed me the real Medellin experience. Not the tourist traps, not the typical gringo areas. We'd go to local restaurants where we were the only foreigners in the entire place. We'd explore neighborhoods most tourists never see. And that trip completely transformed after meeting him. We had a crazy 35 days together. Tons of adventures, experiencing the culture, doing salsa lessons, trying new foods, getting into situations that were extremely dangerous but incredible. incredible. Quick side note, I don't actually recommend Colombia as a first-time solo travel destination. I did get robbed at gunpoint during my trip and had my phone stolen. Colombia is an incredible country with amazing food and culture, but it is more dangerous than many other places, so be careful. But that friendship I made, I still text him to this day. I even met up with him when I was back in the US a couple summers ago. One friendship, one connection completely changed my entire experience. That taught me something crucial. You can be in the most amazing city in the world, but if you're alone, you'll be miserable. And if you're in an average city with good people around, it becomes incredible. Travel to me is never just about the location, it's about the people, the culture. Moving on to the next strategy. Fast forward to 2023, I was back in the US, building my business, working hard, and I was feeling the itch to travel again. I found a Spanish language school program in Barcelona, 4 weeks of intensive classes with an apartment included in the package. Now, most people would just book their flight so they arrive there right when the program starts and they can move into their apartment immediately, but I knew something from my Medellin experience. If I went straight into that private apartment, I'd be alone. I'd go to Spanish classes every day, but coming home to an empty apartment. It could take weeks to meet people in those classes, if I even met anyone. So I did something intentional. I booked a flight to arrive there a week earlier before the classes started, and I stayed at a hostel. Not because I love sleeping in a room with 6 other people snoring. I really don't. I'm 22 now, and hostels are less appealing every year. But because hostels offer the one thing every traveler needs: built-in social opportunities. This hostel in Barcelona had everything set up for socializing. Group walking tours every morning, social spaces with games and activities, pub crawls multiple games a week, a restaurant. I took full advantage of pretty much all of it. I went on the walking tours even though I wasn't super interested in the history of Barcelona. I joined the pub crawls even though I'm not a huge partier. And I hung out in the common areas or by the restaurant/bar instead of just hiding in my room. Within the first days, I'd met a couple of great guys. One was older than me. He was in his late 20s and he pretty much became a mentor for me. We'd have long conversations about life philosophy, what we wanted to build, etc. And I've seen him since that Barcelona trip. He came to the city that I'm living in now to visit and we met up. It was awesome. We still keep in touch all the time. Barcelona itself actually wasn't my favorite city. It's very touristy, pretty expensive for Europe, and doesn't feel super authentic in the main areas. But the people I met made it so worth it. And that's the entire point I'm trying to make. The city you're going to matters less than the people you'll meet there, the people you're with. If you're planning a longer trip somewhere or even a shorter one, consider staying in a hostel for the first few days. Use that time to meet people, get oriented, try to find a social circle. Then when you move into your private place, you already have friends to hang out with. Moving on to the next strategy. Now let me tell you what was genuinely one of the best travel experiences ever and completely eliminated the lonely problem from day one. I did a 70-day group travel program through Peru and Ecuador. These programs exist for young people who want to travel but don't want to do it alone. The company I used put together groups of like 8 to 10 people, all roughly the same age from pretty similar cultural backgrounds, and you travel together as a group for the entire duration. You stay in the same accommodations, you do activities together, you explore the country together. You have built-in travel companions for the entire 70-day trip. It's structured but flexible. You have an organized itinerary, but you have free time to do your own stuff. When you're traveling together, experiencing new things together, navigating challenges together, you form connections way faster than you would back at home. One of the guys I met from that Peru and Ecuador trip became pretty much my closest friend. And this is crazy. We now both live in the same European city. We met exploring the mountains of Peru, and now we're neighbors in the same city a few years later. We hang out regularly, work together sometimes, we travel together, and that friendship only exists because I decided to do that group trip instead of trying to do Peru and Ecuador solo. If you're roughly 18 to 25 when you're watching this, group travel programs are one of the best ways for you to explore the world without being lonely. Yes, they cost more than if you were to just go ahead and book everything yourself. And yes, you'll have less flexibility on that trip, but the social aspect and guaranteed friend group make it absolutely worth it, especially for your first major international experience. Alright, this is the part that actually changed everything for me and made meeting people while traveling sustainable for the long term, because you can't stay in hostels forever, you can't always do group programs. Eventually, you want your own space, your own life, your own routine. So how do you avoid loneliness then? The single easiest and most effective way I've met people while traveling is through online communities for entrepreneurs or online online earners. Let me tell you how I discovered this. A couple years ago, I found an online business group that probably costed like $500, $700 to join. The price was intentional. It filtered people who were actually serious about doing things, not just people dreaming about it. In that group chat, there were guys running their own businesses, solo entrepreneurs, remote workers, people traveling the world, people optimizing their lives to live at lower costs, people that were reinvesting heavily into their business instead of just lifestyle inflation, people who understood the lifestyle, the challenges, the opportunities, people who had similar values around freedom, building wealth, experiencing life. The way this worked was incredibly simple but powerful. Anytime I was planning to visit a new city, I would just type in the group chat, anyone in Berlin next month, anyone in Prague, heading to Germany in a couple weeks, who's around? And instantly guys would reply like, hey man, I'm in Berlin, let's grab dinner. Or I live in Prague, here are the best spots. We'd meet for dinner, go to lounges, have deep conversations about business and life, share strategies. And some of these guys became my good friends. This community completely changed my travel experience. Instead of showing up in a new city hoping to meet people, I'd arrive already knowing I had 2 or 3 people to connect with. Instead of eating alone or working alone, I had a built-in social network. Here's why this is better than random hostels or generic meetup apps. Everyone in these communities is pre-filtered. They're entrepreneurs, remote workers. They understand your lifestyle. They're serious about building something. And they understand the reason why you're traveling or why you're working on what you're working on. The conversations are better, the connections are deeper. And beyond just solving the loneliness problem, these communities can lead to actual business opportunities, collaborations, partnerships, mastermind groups, accountability partners. The ROI on joining the right community is insane. After experiencing how valuable this was, I realized I should build something similar for you guys. So I created a free community specifically for people who value this lifestyle of freedom, making money online and living in higher quality or low cost of living places, or people who simply like taking trips frequently throughout the year and want to have people to meet up with or experience things with. If you want to join and connect with people who are actually living this lifestyle, the link is in the description down below, but warning, this won't stay free forever, and I will remove people who don't fit the vibe or contribute to the community. But if you're serious about traveling without being lonely and meeting other entrepreneurs and remote workers, about having a network in cities around the world, then join the group. This single strategy of having a community of like-minded people has probably added more value to my life than any travel hack or strategy. It's the difference between solo travel being isolating and alone versus social and connected. But let me give you a few more strategies that work well for meeting people while traveling and avoiding being lonely. This one is especially good if you're like 18 to 25 years old. Enroll in language courses or university programs while abroad. You instantly meet classmates, people your age, friend groups, other internationals or foreigners. Now I'm sure if you're making money online or an entrepreneur, you probably don't want to be in a classroom setting again. You probably hate school. But the reality is, in a foreign country, there's many benefits to being enrolled in some sort of school program. First of all, it lets you get a visa to stay there longer. For example, if you're an American and you want to go to Europe, you typically can't stay there for more than 90 days unless you have a work visa, a freelance work visa, or like a physical job visa, or if you're a student. So if you get registered by a student, you can stay in Europe for longer, and you also have a much easier time meeting people since you're around a ton of people your age. And if you're going to a university for foreigners, you'll meet a ton of English speaking people. When I did that Spanish program in Barcelona, even though I already met people at the hostel, I still met awesome people through the Spanish school who I'd hang out with at night. Because when you're in this classroom setting, you're seeing the same people every day, you're all going through the same struggles of trying to get that homework done, and you end up grabbing coffee before class or going out after class. One thing to note though is that Europeans and international people are usually not as entrepreneurial focused as Americans, for example. Don't expect everyone in your language class or university to be obsessed with building businesses or making money. Most of them, if they're in a language class, are just there to learn the culture or learn the language. But as a way to avoid loneliness and meet people, it's extremely effective. If you work online, co-working spaces can also be a good way to meet people. Most major cities now have co-working spaces. Don't just get a desk far away from everyone and put your headphones in all day though. Actually engage with people. Go to the community events. Go to any group dinners or social events if they have them. Attend the networking happy hours. And if you have a particular hobby like sports, join a local sports activity group or club. Doesn't matter if it's soccer, basketball, running club. If you go on Facebook, you can probably find a basketball group or a football group in pretty much any country across Europe. Join any recurring activity where you're pretty much going to see the same people every time. Most cities with significant digital nomad or expat communities have regular meetups. Go on Facebook, type in digital nomads in blank city and find the meetups. Show up, be friendly, exchange info with the people you connect with. Not everyone will become a close friend, but you can expand your social circle. Now that in particular is probably the least attractive way for me to try to meet people when traveling. I'd much rather do it through online business groups, being at hostels, or from a university or class, but it is a solid option nonetheless, especially if you are more there for business or networking. Instead of booking an Airbnb or a private apartment for your long-term accommodation, consider booking a co-working space. These can be a lot cheaper and you'll have some roommates. These are like adult dorms, but actually nice. You have your own private room, but shared spaces like a kitchen. The pattern you notice with all these places is you're putting yourself in situations with built-in social opportunities. You're not hoping to randomly meet people. You're creating circumstances where meeting people is natural and easy. I don't want this video to scare you or make travel feel like it's impossible or lonely. That's not my goal here at all. Because here's the truth and what I need you to understand. Traveling and living abroad has completely changed my life way more than I would have thought 5 years ago. I've been to over 20 countries now, met people who I still talk to years later, who've become genuine friends despite living thousands of miles apart. I've built friendships that have turned into business opportunities. I've grown more as a person than I ever would have staying in my hometown. When I have kids someday, I'm absolutely sending them abroad for at least a month when they turn 18, even if they're scared, even if they resist, because I know it will change how they see the world, how they see themselves, how they understand different ways of living. Most Americans never leave their home country. They stay in the same state, the same neighborhood, maybe even the same city their entire lives. They know one way of living, one culture, one perspective. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're genuinely happy. You're so lucky to grow up in America in a safe home with a loving family, with friends around. But you're missing out on so much growth, so much experiences, so much understanding of how big and diverse the world actually is. You have an opportunity that most people in human history never have had. You can work from anywhere. You can work from beautiful, affordable places while maintaining your income. You can experience dozens of cultures, cities, different ways of living. The only thing stopping you is fear. Fear of loneliness, fear of being alone, fear of the uncomfortable. And I'm telling you, that fear is manageable. It's solvable. You can have rich social lives, deep friendships, meaningful connections, all while living abroad. Let me bring you back to the practical side for a moment because this is important for entrepreneurs in particular. If you make money online or have a solid job as a remote worker, the financial opportunity of living abroad is insane. The United States is extremely expensive for basic living. Rent in a city, $1,500 to $3,000 a month. Car payments plus insurance, $300 to $800 a month. A casual lunch is $15, $25. A dinner, $30 to $60, and basic groceries for a week are expensive. You're easily spending at least $3,500 to $5,000 a month just to live at a basic level. And that's before any business expenses, investments, or fun money. Living abroad in the right places, or even just taking trips for a few months abroad, rent is $500 to a bit over $1,000 a month for nice places. Food can be $3 to $6 a meal from local restaurants. Transportation is dirt cheap. You can buy like a monthly tram or metro pass for very cheap. Your expenses can drop to $2,000 a month or $2,500 a month for a better or equal lifestyle. That can be thousands of bucks a month you're saving by just being strategic about the location. Over a year, that's tens of thousands of dollars. And let's just say you were to invest that extra money at 8% annual returns. That's $300,000 in 8 years. That's life-changing wealth built purely from location leverage, not from increasing your income at all. Plus, that extra $2,000 a month can go back into your business. Better ads, better tools, better team members, more inventory, more product development. That can accelerate your business growth by years. You can work on projects you're more passionate about without having to be as worried about making rent. You can build for the long term instead of chasing quick money. This is why I get so passionate about entrepreneurs learning the reality of living abroad or at least traveling a few months of the year. It's not just fun experiences and Instagram photos. It's about fundamentally improving your financial position and your business's trajectory while also living a more interesting life. Let me address a few more concerns I know people have about this. 1. What if I'm naturally introverted? I get this, but here's the thing. You don't have to be social all the time. Maybe you like not meeting with people every day. Maybe you like working in your apartment more. You can have small groups of 2 to 3 friends. You can have quiet nights in or busy social nights out. You control your calendar. The strategies I've shared give you options for meeting people when you want to. Use them when you're feeling social, take breaks when you're not. Travel actually gives you more control over your social life than if you're just stuck stuck working a normal office job in the same city. Look, I won't lie and say you'll never have lonely moments. There will probably be nights where you're alone and miss home. These will be the times where you question if the lifestyle is worth it. But these moments pass and they're outweighed by the incredible experiences. Again, I'm not telling you to live abroad. I'm just saying spend some time every year traveling, going to new cultures, living in cheaper places. I personally don't like to be traveling around from country to country every month. I'd rather have a couple bases, stay there, learn the culture, meet good people there. That seems to be my favorite way of traveling / living. And if you try going abroad for a few months and genuinely hate it, you can always go home. This isn't a permanent decision. You're not burning any bridges, you're just experiencing a different way of life. Next fear, what about language barriers? Most major cities have significant English-speaking populations, especially in expat or more digital nomad areas. And younger generations in most countries learn English in school or they're seeing it on TikTok, YouTube, etc. I've met many people in foreign countries who speak perfect English, and when I asked them how they learn English, they said a lot of it was from YouTube or playing Roblox or video games. So funny. And translation apps are incredibly good now. Google Translate's solid. ChatGPT has amazing translation. You can just snap a picture of something with ChatGPT, it will translate it. You can point your camera at signs and menus and have instant translations. And honestly, some of the best travel moments have been trying to communicate with other people despite language barriers. It's challenging, but also fun and rewarding. The point is, none of these obstacles are actually super significant. They're all manageable with the right preparation and mindset. Let me bring this together because I want to make sure you actually take action on this. Travel doesn't have to be lonely. It doesn't have to be scary. You just need a strategy. Start with hostels for instant social opportunities. Consider group travel programs for guaranteed friend groups. Join language schools or classes for recurring social settings. Use co-working spaces to meet other online earners. Most importantly, use online communities to connect with like-minded people before you even leave. These systems turn loneliness into connection. They transform solo travel from being an isolating experience into a social adventure. And by doing this, you get access to everything travel offers. More freedom to design your days, lower cost of living that accelerates wealth building, better lifestyle with great weather and food, stronger community with interesting people, wider worldview from experiencing different cultures, and a more defined identity by challenging yourself. Other people dream of this lifestyle. They fantasize about working from a cafe in Barcelona or Rome, or working from a co-working space in Bali. They imagine the freedom, the experiences, the adventures. You can actually live it. You have the online income or remote work that makes this possible. The only thing between where you are now and this lifestyle is the decision. And I know the fear of loneliness is real. I know it's scary to leave what's familiar and go somewhere new. But I'm telling you from my experience, with the right strategies, you can meet amazing people. You'll form meaningful friendships and you can build a life that's much more interesting than the one you're living right now. And if you want to join a community to meet other people who are actually doing this, who can answer your questions and meet up with you in different cities, click the link in the description down below to join our free group. Don't try to do this completely alone. Connect with people who understand the lifestyle and can make this all easier. The world is waiting for you. The experiences are waiting for you. The friendships are waiting for you. The growth is waiting for you. The only question is whether or not you're going to take that first step. I recently created a very valuable video of how I grew my investment portfolio into the 6 figures. Click the video on the screen to watch.